Thank you for your interest in our 2023 Southwestern Psychological Association Convention talk. The title of our talk is San Antonians' Behavioral and Attitudinal Happiness Relative to Social Economic Status. My name is Joanna Secor, one of the experimenters on this research study. The other experimenters contributing to this research are Michael De Leon and Dr. Don Lucas. This study was conducted out of Northwest Vista College in San Antonio, Texas. With all the post-pandemic strife going on in the world today, this study began with a personal curiosity about answering one simple question. How happy is the city of San Antonio, the city all of us researchers live in? We aren't the first to be curious about measuring a city's happiness. In fact, for economic and tourist reasons, there's a whole array of research literature associated with judging how happy a city is. These studies have mostly focused on either a simple subjective rating by the city's dwellers, answering the question, how happy are you? Or they've measured impersonal characteristics about the city, including such things as the city's crime rates, employment rates, divorce rates, health insurance rates, obesity rates, or the number of parks, the number of sunny days, the number of churches, the number of amusement parks, the number of lakes, the number of festivals the city has. And these measures are all well and good, but they tell us little about how happy the city is relative to what city dwellers are really doing on a day-to-day basis. And thus, we set out to find how happy a city is by meaningfully measuring what its dwellers are really doing relative to happiness. We did this in two ways, behaviorally and attitudinally. We behaviorally defined happiness in two ways. One way was by pro-social behavior. We know people who are happy are more likely to help others. We measured pro-social behavior by measuring the probability a San Antonian in a public place picks up a wallet and then gives the wallet back to a stranger who dropped the wallet out of their pocket. The second way we behaviorally defined happiness was by reciprocal smiling. People who are happy are more likely to smile back at someone who smiles at them. We measured reciprocal smiling by measuring whether a San Antonian in a public place smiles, frowns, or makes no change in facial expression after seeing a stranger smile at them. We attitudinally defined happiness in two ways. One way was by one's judgment of themselves. People who are happy are more likely to judge themselves as being happy. We measured judgment of themselves happiness by asking San Antonians to complete a brief survey with questions about happiness and pro-social and reciprocal smiling situations. San Antonians answered these questions using a 5-point Likert scale, with 1 equaling absolutely no or very unhappy, and 5 equaling absolutely yes or very happy. The survey also included a scientifically validated 10-question, 5-point Likert measure of happiness called the Positive and Negative Affect Schedule, referred to as the PANAS, which measures a person's positive emotions and negative emotions. The other way we attitudinally defined happiness was by one's judgment of others. People who are happy are more likely to judge others as being happy too. We measured judgment of others' happiness by asking San Antonians to complete a brief survey with a question about their neighbor's happiness. San Antonians answered this question using a 5-point Likert scale, with 1 equaling very unhappy and 5 equaling very happy. The San Antonians also completed the PANAS again, not for themselves this time, but instead with their neighbors in mind. To get a broad sampling of the nearly 1.5 million people living in San Antonio, the behavioral and attitudinal measures were taken in different social economic statuses of the city. The behavioral measures were taken in low, medium, and high SES areas of San Antonio as determined by zip codes. The low SES area had an average household income of $26,650, zip code 78207. The medium SES area had an average household income of $74,042, zip code 78209. and the high SES area had an average household income of $103,092, zip code 78258. The attitudinal measures included a question about what zip code the participant resided in San Antonio. This resulted in 38 different zip codes with an average yearly household income ranging from $24,455 to $134,941.
So, what did we find? Individually, 90 San Antonians witnessed a stranger in public unknowingly drop his wallet. Of these 90 San Antonians, 75% picked up the wallet and gave it back to the stranger, 24% did not pick up the wallet, and 1% picked up the wallet but did not give it back to the stranger. When compared to the medium and high socioeconomic status area of San Antonio, the low socioeconomic status area of San Antonio significantly differed in its probabilities of the wallet being picked up and given back, not picked up, and picked up but not given back. Individually, 90 San Antonians saw a stranger in public make eye contact and then smile at them. Of these 90 San Antonians, 67% smiled back at the stranger, 6% frowned, and 28% made no change in their facial expression. Low, medium, and high socioeconomic status areas of San Antonio had no statistically significant effects on San Antonians smiling, frowning, or having no change in facial expression to the stranger smiling. 93 San Antonians with a mean age of 36.7 years completed our brief survey composed of questions about happiness and pro-social and reciprocal smiling situations on the PANAS. Of these 93 San Antonians, 90% answered absolutely yes to the statement, "If I saw a stranger in my neighborhood and they dropped their wallet, then I would pick up the wallet and give it back to them." 83% of them answered absolutely yes to the statement, "If I saw a stranger in my neighborhood and they smiled at me, then I would smile back at them." And, when judging themselves on a 5-point Likert scale, San Antonians rated their own happiness as a 4, their PANAS positive affect score as a 3.9, and their PANAS negative affect score as a 1.6. When judging their neighbors on a 5-point Likert scale, San Antonians rated their happiness as a 3.6, their PANAS positive affect score as a 3.4, and their PANAS negative affect score as a 1.8. In comparison to how they rated themselves, San Antonians rated their neighbors as less happy with less positive affect and more negative affect. Using their home zip codes, we split the 93 San Antonians who completed our survey into a high socioeconomic status group and a low socioeconomic status group. The high and low socioeconomic status groups differed in their answers to the wallet and smile questions. Additionally, the high and low socioeconomic groups differed in their judgments about their own and neighbors' happiness, as well as their PANAS judgments about their neighbors. The present study's overall results are clear. There is a 75% chance San Antonians will help others in distress. There is a 67% chance San Antonians will smile at strangers. 90% of San Antonians view themselves as helpers for others in distress. 83% of San Antonians view themselves as reciprocators of kindness. 76% of San Antonians judge themselves as being happy, while 58% of San Antonians judge their neighbors as being happy. Despite the strife of the post-pandemic world today, San Antonio is a happy city.
The present study's results also show San Antonio's happiness isn't all rainbows and unicorns. San Antonians' happiness is affected by social economic status and cognitive dissonance. Specifically, higher SES areas of San Antonio were more likely to yield helping behaviors for strangers in distress, and people living in these higher SES areas were more likely to judge themselves and their neighbors as being happier than those living in lower SES areas of San Antonio. And interestingly, those living in higher SES areas of San Antonio appear to have higher levels of dissonance between believing they would be helping strangers in distress and being kind to them than those living in lower SES areas of San Antonio, who had less dissonant perspectives of their helping behavior and kindness.
These results must be viewed relative to several limitations in this study. The first limitation is how we gathered the participants to be a part of this study. Although we sampled from 38 different zip codes across the city, San Antonio has a total of 66 zip codes. For a true sampling of San Antonio, further research should cover all these zip codes. The second limitation is this is a correlational study. Although we found statistically significant differences between socioeconomic statuses when it comes to behaviors and attitudes associated with happiness, the present study design does not allow us to say these differences were caused by socioeconomic status. Lastly, this is the first study of its kind. Thus, the present results have yet to be replicated. Despite the present study's limitations, this study created a scientifically robust and novel method for measuring a city's happiness. By combining behavioral and attitudinal measures of happiness, we found San Antonio, Texas to be relatively happy. Further research will have us replicating this study, especially as it relates to socioeconomic status and cognitive dissonance, and applying this study's methods to cities beyond San Antonio. Do you really want to know whether your city is happy? We're waiting for our invitation.